I've built rapport with Marty.
We have great rapport.
One, I have a rapport with them.
Trust a rapport with the patient.
Rapport.
178 countries voted to censure Superman.
Censure will help them with that.
And until then, I will take this censure and...
But these censures only apply to the girls.
Censure.
You're never benevolent.
I'm a benevolent leader. I share.
Esteemed colleague, benevolent citizen.
He decided to become a benevolent king.
Benevolent.
You got any amusing anecdotes?
Keep a low profile. Chuckle at anecdotes.
He has only 2 anecdotes. Not
Just be another saucy anecdote.
Anecdote.
So, I'm frugal.
Loyalty, politeness, frugality, soldier's duty.
You could be very frugal.
Is a reflection of frugality rather than necessity.
Frugal.
Assiduously stayed away from it. So tread lightly before you assiduously malign.
Let's put a lid on this assiduousness.
While it remains a burden assiduously avoided.
Assiduous.
Make a dearth in this revolting land.
This is of such a dearth of publicly available work.
You'll recognize your dearth?
There's a dearth of Iranian female directors, so thank you.
Dearth.
Trying to understand, trying to emulate.
Many Baptist scientists you could emulate.
These same people want me to emulate.
His whole career he's tried to emulate me.
Emulate.
Let's call this fortuitous.
Recognize this rather fortuitous opportunity for...
Girls, hell, fortuitous.
Where? What fortuitous timing.
Fortuitous.
I need something tangible.
There's no tangible explosive.
These tapes are tangible evidence.
I prefer something more tangible.
Tangible.
was rendered obsolete.
And I'm obsolete.
I'm an obsolete design.
Marriage is obsolete.
Obsolete.
Keeps meticulous records.
Everything was meticulously restored by...
Meticulously recorded for posterity.
Meticulous researcher, our Joe.
Meticulous.
She was very belligerent and disagreeable.
Several of the belligerents were arrested.
Governments and citizens of belligerent nations.
Though the boy does have a certain belligerence.
Belligerent.
Apathy is a solution.
Well, apathy never built anything.
It's not like apathy, it's colder.
Thanks to Paxton's extreme apathy towards school.
Apathy.
We will remain impartial.
He is an impartial third party.
To be a fair and impartial juror.
People cannot be impartial about themselves.
Impartial.
Can I be candid?
To be perfectly candid.
Guess we're being candid today.
I'm taking candid photos of me.
Candid.
Eccentric geniuses.
What an eccentric performance.
The eccentric looking guy?
Like, peculiar, maybe, or eccentric.
Eccentric.
Mendacious and polyglottal.
That mendacious minx stole my map.
Cast by the divine flame.
A mendacious drivel.
I remember because I'm determined, self-possessed, and mendacious.
Mendacious.
The most pernicious problem.
What pernicious propaganda are you peddling?
The pernicious hour is at last upon us.
I believe Logan Roy is a pernicious influence.
Pernicious.
What a delightful force of nature. Serendipity.
But I was only referring to the serendipity of the coincidence.
Maybe it was serendipity.
Serendipity! This is his chance!
Serendipity.
That seems a bit perfunctory.
No, that's far too perfunctory.
Speech that just went from perfunctory to historic.
Instead of just a perfunctory obituary for the newspaper.
Perfunctory.
A nefarious agenda.
Nefarious and sleazy innuendos.
A nefarious plan, which I overheard.
Are you involved in something nefarious?
Nefarious.
I'm supposed to be capricious.
Well, you hired the capricious child.
I find your capricious passion intriguing.
Life is very capricious.
Capricious.
Racketeering, extortion, kidnapping.
Because you were extorting me.
Being extorted for $10,000.
You're sitting here for extortion.
Extort.
How was that cacophony nothing?
Can you please attenuate the cacophony out here? Huh?
To drown out the constant cacophony of voices whispering in my ear.
During dinner, I could tune out the cacophony of chewing.
Cacophony.
Won't perjure myself.
Perjure myself.
Save your seat.
I perjured myself before the gods.
I believe Mr. Sandifer perjured himself.
Perjure.
Everything pertains to you, Eddie.
But do they pertain to me?
I need all FBI records pertaining.
My studies this evening pertain to music.
Pertain.
Your penchant for riddles was legendary.
Norma has a penchant for stable boys.
My point is your penchant for distorting the facts.
Someone in tight leather pants with a penchant for knives.
Penchant.
You know Gloria, she's impetuous.
It's almost impetuous, wouldn't you say?
Mud can be a little impetuous.
You're impetuous and it's not serious.
Impetuous.
Well, if by ingratiate myself you mean...
If you're trying to be ingratiating, Mr. Bond, don't bother.
Don't try to ingratiate yourself with me.
I simply ingratiated myself to the right people, of course.
Ingratiate.
Remember, sir, it is the ephemeral nature of things that makes them wonderful.
Human life is ephemeral.
But dreams are ephemeral, and sometimes impossible.
Tempered by the ephemeral use of color.
Ephemeral.
And might be constitutionally dubious.
He is of dubious parentage.
Catching these dubious, nefarious.
I have always been dubious.
Dubious.
Conundrum averted.
Yeah, it's a conundrum.
Ethical conundrum avoided.
I'm making a conundrum.
Conundrum.
That triggers euphoria, elation, exhilaration.
It can heighten the euphoria.
Relaxed euphoria, the exact moment.
Also produces euphoria.
Euphoria.
Aesthetic principles.
No aesthetic beauty whatsoever.
Aesthetic input. Sculptures. Modern art.
Because you're both aesthetically pleasing.
Aesthetic.
The chamber's hermetic vaults.
A little known, somewhat hermetic artist.
In a hermetically sealed box.
It has a hermetically sealed room.
Hermetic.
They insinuate a slightly skewed perspective.
Okay, then tell me what skew means.
Mutual admiration that skews in my favor.
Right, so that he can't skew the results either.
Skew.
Don't capitulate.
We need not capitulate to the Empire and their kind.
Any sign of capitulation?
Given a choice between capitulation and survival.
Capitulate.
Well, I can only surmise that.
We wanted to surmise your interest.
Surmise the tour did not go well?
We surmised we were facing genocide.
Surmise.
Don't be vulgar.
I'm a vulgar man.
He's a vulgar human being.
You were rude, vulgar, and uncouth.
Vulgar.
Vaguely inept.
These rustics are so inept.
You are not inept, except me.
Because you're a bumbling, inept fool.
Inept.
I never gave these stories much credence.
That I have not given credence to.
Other evidence lends credence to that theory, Captain.
He's a criminal and a terrorist. People aren't going to give him credence.
Credence.
Technically adroit.
Very adroit, Mr. Leslie. Very skilled.
How adroitly your weather vane spins, Harold.
Anthony Soprano was very adroit at keeping his family.
Adroit.
All access privileges rescinded.
I rescind my offer.
I rescind it.
However, I rescind my apology.
Rescind.
She's lucid.
And she's lucid.
What?
She does seem fairly lucid. Before she lost her lucid thought, she...
Lucid.
Full of philosophical platitudes.
It's a platitude.
Dad never did bullshit platitudes. You can't just give it platitudes.
Platitude.
She's very succinct.
She is succinct. What a succinct story.
Very succinct summary, well done.
I wish I'd be more succinct.
Succinct.
I'm ambivalent.
And maybe an ambivalence?
And I'm ambivalent about attention.
I found the ambivalence in there.
Ambivalent.
I'm sensing rancor.
I will not have this kind of rancor around my child.
Perhaps he fears the rancor. It would only create rancor and resentment.
Rancor.
To zealots responsible for mass genocide.
Similar concerns about these zealots.
They're mercenaries. They're not zealots.
Religious zealots
praying at the altar of Atrium.
Zealot.